We're chilling.
It's kind of cool because the Bronny thing, he's going to play with his dad, just like you get to be on a podcast with your dad. Like, isn't this unbelievable? What a time to be alive.
It's great.
It's amazing.
Ryan Pinder, Barnburner, and Flames Nation. We are sitting here, and Oilers fans are just like, oh, the draft's today. Okay, cool. But it's busy for you guys. Not only do you have the top 10 pick, but Craig Conroy's been active. Let's kind of go in chronological order, I guess. I love that Mangiapane deal.
Yeah, I didn't think they'd be able to get a second without full retention. He's $5.8 million, which is too much money for a guy that's eclipsed 20 goals once. He got paid in that Battle of Alberta year when they had the best line in the league with Gaudreau, Tkachuk, Lindholm, and behind that, probably with some juicier matchups, put up stupid numbers, 35 goals. And since then, I mean, you're looking at, 17, 14 goals. It's been pretty rough sledding for him. And he does get to play with Backlund and Coleman most of the time, which is, you've got to do some defensive work, but it's a good line that should be producing better. Coleman had 30 goals last year, for example. So Mange, to me, felt like a distressed asset, and they don't have to eat half, and they get a second, albeit next year in Colorado's, which probably a little later. But that, to me, makes a ton of sense. It's already a glut of wingers. They want to find some room to get a look at someone like Jacob Pelche, who's been in the minors, and I think they also want to have a slot where, if a theoretical Jeff Skinner situation popped up, you'd be able to accept a huge pile of coins to take on someone else's problem. And as it stood before the trade, there just wasn't enough wing spots.
Yeah, that's fair. I forgot to tell everybody, Pinder's appearance is brought to you by our friends at Star Mechanical, Edmonton's #1 plumbing and heating company. You can find out more about them online at starmechanical.ca. Before we get to the draft tonight, there's another rumor kind of popping up here, and it's the Nazem Kadri thing. Do you think there's a realistic chance he gets moved? He's got the no trade clause, so he controls his own fate here a little bit. But what would be even the logic there from a Flames perspective?
Well, I think it's more the Nazem Kadri perspective. They like having him around. He had a really rough first year under Daryl Sutter when everything went wrong, and that sort of started the blow up of this organization. But last year, flirted with 30 goals. You could call it a career year for a guy that was, 34? Mm-hmm. It was a really strong year. He was playing with Pospisil and Zeri, so for whatever reason, after that rough start that I guess kind of ended around the outdoor game in Edmonton, they called up some kids, and they played Nazem with kids, and he was great. And he actually did look like a leader, unlike the year prior where you wondered how much he'd pulled the chute and hated his coach and Daryl Sutter. Like, it was an active conversation on our show regularly. So Nazem's got 5 years left. It's a 7-year deal. Nazem makes $7 a year. Nazem wants to win. If he wants out and you can get a deal, I think it absolutely is a slam dunk. Now, what the deal would look like, I don't know, because someone's going to have to want to take on a half decade of a guy that's already in his mid-30s. Retention for that long would be a really dangerous thing. He's been a value guy at 7. I think if you look around the league, you could look to a lot of teams and say, oh, Nazem Kadri's better than their second-line center. But I don't think that means a lot of teams would want to take on that contract. It's onerous in the sense that you're going to pay him through his 35, 36, 37, 38, 39-year-old season. That is not young. Now, he was good last year, but I just don't know. There's too many teams that are smart and have analytics departments and an understanding of players' aging curves. It's just a huge risk. Now, we've seen Washington make a couple moves that I thought weren't analytically sound with Dubois and now Mangiapane, but I just don't know how many teams would bite on Nazem and what that return could look like. If it gets you a significant asset, you have to do it. I'm sort of panning it a little more because of the term of the deal.
Yeah, and then obviously, Liam, you got anything on the trade activity front on the Flames, or do you want to move to draft?
I'm ready for the draft.
Yeah, I mean, Flames fans are as well. You guys are going to be going live. You're doing a live stream, right?
We've got a watch party happening on the 15th floor here. I'll look over Stadium Swim. It'll be a ton of fun. And they pick at 9 and 28. So that is the first of 3 years in a row where they have multiple first-rounders. They do have to give a first to Montreal next year, but as long as they're in the top 10 of the draft, that's protected. Florida's pick would go to Montreal, and there's probably a massive difference. You might be able to park a cruise ship between the Flames selection and the Panthers pick next year. I think the Panthers are going to be good, and, well, you can do the legwork on what I think the Flames are going to look like next year.
So at 9, I mean, we're hearing Frank thinks they're hot and heavy to move up in the draft. Would it be moving up to try get Tij, or would it be moving up because they like maybe someone else?
I think they like Tij. I think you could also see someone like Demidov slide a bit. That would intrigue them a ton. I think, Lindstrom probably shouldn't be there, but if he was, they would love that. They need D. They need scorers. They need centermen. There is no high-end player that they wouldn't be like, yes, we need you. And I don't know where the challenge about moving up for me is like, we've pretty much seen all these mocks and experts talk about it. Like, you can pull names out of a hat basically from like 2 on, or realistically like 4 on, if we assume that Lev Shunov goes to Chicago. Even Anaheim, I have no idea what they're doing. They could take Salayev, who might slide into the teens otherwise. So if you're moving up at 9, how sure are you that that player wouldn't have just been on your plate at 9 anyway? I don't know. And so if you have to give up a second first to move up 3, 4, 5 slots in the top 10, because I still think that pick number 28 could be an interesting player. What I really think they're going to do is, they added another second yesterday, is they'll try to staple some things to 28 and move up to where they've said publicly they think there's a ledge at 18. If it takes 2 seconds or a second and a third, if they can turn 28 into 17, 18, I think they'll do it.
This is a pretty. Oh, go ahead, Leo.
I was going to say, if they do stay at 9, is that someone you would like them to take?
I mean, in my personal preference or for team need, I just think like you could use a Tij Iginla. You'd love a centerman, and I don't know that you want Hellenius that early. I'm not convinced Catton's a center versus a winger, but he's very talented. So I'd say Tij. I'd say a guy like Dickinson, if he slides to them on the blue line, that would be a massive coup. And I think that this Beckett Seneke has been a major riser here over the last month or two. He's got a ton of helium. It wouldn't surprise me if they really like him. They need everything. So I don't really have a pet one, but I do want to put that Tij Iginla seed in people's heads. Can you imagine the greatest franchise player in your history, like the icon? You close your eyes, you think of the logo, that's who you see. That guy's kid, not only being available to be drafted, but maybe you're lucky he slides to you because he had such a monster year. Tij Iginla set a Rockets record for goals in a series. He's one of the youngest players available in the draft, and he looks like a pure sniper, and he might even go to center ice next year at Kelowna because they're losing some guys. It would be an absolute dream come true for the Flames fan base if you want to sell jerseys. There's been a lot of L's for this club on and off the ice since the Oilers beat them in Game 5 in 2022. It kind of feels like a why can't we have nice things scenario for Flames fans. Something like Tij coming along, I don't know that, like, reality it's as big as we make it, but the fan base would absolutely love it. It would feel like, yes, finally something nice happened to this team after the Gaudreau walk. Kachuk wants out. Huberdeau falls on his face. On and on and on. It's been a rough, 15 months, 18, 20 months, whatever it's been, 2 years, I guess, since that Battle of Alberta.
And again, it's not. This isn't, I know you guys were talking about it during the Betway segment. This isn't a Bronny situation where he's like a fringe first rounder, but the Flames are going to pick him at 10 because they like the story. Like, this is on merit. That's what's so beautiful about the lineup.
100%. And it's also what's kind of scary for Flames fans because he just might not get to. You might not have the chance. And it's fully earned and warranted. If someone like Montreal takes him at 5 or Columbus at 4, I mean, it's like, he's super young. He had an incredible season. He kept getting better. And scouts are kind of looking around saying, I just don't know how much better this kid's going to be. Like, I can't be taking someone else who I think I know the ceiling of. I can't even see the ceiling on TJ. He could be a star winger. And now we're talking about maybe he can go to center ice. I mean, if he doesn't get to 9, you can't really say it's a nepotism pick. He's earned it.
Just last one I got for you then is just Flames and free agency. We've heard the connections to maybe a Jake DeBrusk. How do you think they'll be aggressive in free agency? And if your answer to that is yes, is that the right play for where they're at?
I don't think they will be. I've heard the smoke. It doesn't make sense to me. They are firmly entrenched in a rebuild. This is not a retool. There are 4 skaters left from that Battle of Alberta. You have, not even, because Mangiapane got traded yesterday. My God. So it's Rasmus Andersson. Oliver Shillington does not have a contract. We're not going to count him. He may probably get one done with the Flames before Monday. So Rasmus Andersson, Michael Backlund, Blake Coleman. Those are the only 3 skaters left from 2 years ago. This is a complete teardown, and I think that if they're going shopping on July 1, it's veteran quad A depth pieces. Hey, your market got a little soft as a number 4 defenseman. We'll give you a little more money, less term. Come help, fill a top 4 role on this blue line for 2 years. And maybe you find someone who slides into August and you're like, we can get a 1-year deal, build up the value. This is not a spend your way out of the basement situation for the Flames.
doing the watch party here tonight. If you want to keep tabs with what they're doing down in Flames Nation, you can head over to their YouTube. And this is about as cool of a spot as you can do a watch party as
Stadium swim. Are you kidding me? This is unreal. I got out here yesterday. I was in the pool and the Mangiapane trade broke.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely hilarious.
You didn't give us a little Kevin Weeks, like in the pool, eyes on the bottom of the screen, breaking news?
People don't need my mullet in a pool in 42-degree weather, but it was kind of cool to tuck off to the studio and do a little recap within minutes of that. It's a pretty awesome place. I can't imagine it on NFL Sunday. That's what I keep thinking of, because it's like there's cabanas everywhere. It's the middle of summer here. This is not high tide for Vegas. It would be an absolute zoo here. Never mind if you had like wild card weekend or something. It's just exceptional.
I sat here yesterday watching Angels Tigers. And I was like, boy, if there was real sports on right now, giddy up, giddy up. Thanks for your time, man. Appreciate you popping by.
Right on. Thanks, man.
All right. What's up, Nation citizens? If you like that video, then you need to be subscribed to the Oilers Nation YouTube. Podcasts, live shows, exclusive interviews, and analysis. Everything you need from your favorite voices at Oilers Nation. And you don't want to miss any of it, so hammer that subscribe button.